I warm up those around me. And the warmth that I am embraces. I embrace self, yourself, himself, herself, their self, itself. I am self. And I ignite the flame within myself and yourself and all the other types of selves that are out there. What I'm saying is, basically, I ignite inspiration in others to light the fire within themselves. So light that shit.
Friday, I had a realization. Like, you know, when you think about being free, freedom and stuff, and I'm like hearing you say all the things, and I'm just like, yo, what is the definition and the source of freedom? Like, where did the inspiration for the word even come from? And I think that the inspiration from the word came from literally living with no fear.
You know, it's like when people talk about fear, I don't think fear is such a bad thing, because it's an indication that, you know, of how your physical space is aligning with whatever decision and space you're moving into. And if you embrace that, and the freedom comes when you don't place a judgment on that being there in the first place.
On it being the bad thing.
Right. Yeah. And when you move towards something fearful, and you know, that's like a whole other conversation, but sometimes when we move towards what will free us, it scares us because we might be getting everything that we wanted. And you're afraid to disappoint the picture in your mind. So for me, freedom is not being trapped by anyone else's perceptions of what I decide to do. And if I make a choice, I'm not held to that consequence of whether it was a good or a bad choice. Like, it's just, I'm just existing, I'm just being, I'm creating, I'm living. If it doesn't work, that's up to me to decide, like, what I do next.
Well, I'm glad you just said that, because that's where my freedom comes from.
Talk about it.
That is where it resonates with me.
Where's that?
Yeah. And I think that's because they have access to the vulnerability because of the dimensionality of our ancestors, right? They existed in this physical space and transcended through this spiritual space. So it allows us to kind of, it reminds me in our humanity to connect, right? So that the fear of it all, the things of it all, the experiences of it all, they become more true and less hard, less difficult, because I know that in between it exists, and when it's present through the hymnals, the language of poetry, it becomes even truer. So I can feel free, I can feel vulnerable.
It's so nice to feel vulnerable. It's so nice to be soft sometimes.
It does feel good. And when you can find people that you can kind of unleash that with in a very intimate way, it's very beautiful.
What do you think we can do to change that?
More things like this. More opportunities for us to just sit down and talk to each other, because I feel like, you know, in the normal space, you know, we see each other, but we don't get the time to really like let our layers down and like put our walls down. There's still like this thing about us of putting on this air, whatever it is that we're trying to put on. But I feel like this space was like really great, like fostering like such a vulnerable time for us to just like talk and I feel like I learned so much about everyone, and I felt like, you know, like a lot of the things you guys are saying, like I feel like it's like my experience, and like we don't get to have that on a daily basis, where you just feel like you relate, like y'all get it, like, you know what I'm saying, you understand.
Being around people who understand you is so vital, because because of society and the way that things are set up, we're around people who automatically just misunderstand us just by the first look, you know? So being allowed the space where you find community, find women who face the same adversity, it is very liberating.
Yeah.
And I would say also, choosing the right men, choosing the right jobs, environments, like where we could be vulnerable and soft, that's important too. And I think a lot of times we're conditioned not to. We're conditioned to stick things out way too long, and even like with jobs that don't make you happy, you're just like, okay, this is a great job, like great title and all that.
Representation of this experience.
Yeah, like we're building
Something
it
that
together.
that no matter where you are in life, you know that we built this together.
Yeah, exactly.
Facts, and you could bring it up years down the line and be mad old. Oh, stop! I am also a Pandora's box of what I do to anyone that tries to fuck with me the wrong way. I am the breeze of warm fires, where if you touch me the wrong way, you might burn yourself. But I am warm, and I warm up those around me. And the warmth that I am embraces. I embrace self, yourself, himself, herself, their self, itself. I am self. And I ignite the flame within myself and yourselves and all the other types of selves that are out there. What I'm saying is, basically, I ignite inspiration in others to light the fire within themselves. So light that shit.
As Black women, like, we always have to be tough and, like, you know, be strong, you know, looking over our shoulders, you know, looking out for everyone.
Right.
And
That part.
it's not often that I do feel like we get the time to be soft. It's just ingrained in us.
Yeah, we really don't.
What I would love for you guys to do, as you feel compelled, I want you to bring up a piece, and it'll be like you're offering to our tapestry of freedom.
My life moving forward is just living authentically as me and living in purpose with what God put in my heart as a child and accepting that.
It's like there was such, like in my early 20s, it was such a block. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me, what the problem was. But like the last couple of years, it's just like the veil has been lifted. Like, oh my God.
And that's freeing.
You know?
Facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lifting that veil is really freeing. It's like that aha moment.
Right.
I remember going through a period of shedding. Just like, sometimes I would cry and I know why I'm crying. But it was really me tapping into my inner child. And the thing about that I didn't realize was when you neglect your inner child, it's almost like that inner child is hidden. And so when you finally like acknowledge it and be like, look, you can come out. She was crying. And so I was like really shedding a lot of like stuff that I was holding in and a lot of things that I was holding against myself. And then, to let that go and be like, you know what? I'm here, I'm present. How can I be more present right now?
Right.
What's the question? How I'm bringing freedom into my life? Okay, by continuously giving myself permission to be myself.
And as we were just talking about, you know, flowing and just letting go of perceptions of what is perfect and what isn't, that is the process of freedom to me. It's just really just sinking in and allowing things to just literally, like if you're watching leaves blowing. So, and I always allude to nature a lot because that's where I feel freest. Because I understand who I am and my natural instincts in those situations. Because when you remove what's familiar and you just put out in nature, you just have to figure out how to exist. You know, you connect to your breath and everything just seems to make a lot of sense. So it was just flowing with what was in front of me, and even if I got caught in the middle, I would eventually find my way back out. So that's
learning to bring more freedom into my life by learning myself. And so this is representative of that. A little chaotic and it varies in scale and soft colors, but it's evolving and it's kind of morphing and forming, and so
I love it.
that is my contribution.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a recognition of my vulnerability. I think my freedom is my vulnerability.
Yeah, add it with me. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Wherever you want.
And I think it's because as a child, I think I was birthed from my family to show them vulnerability, to show them the freedom of vulnerability.
Wow.
Because I think in being the strong, powerful Black women they were, and they are presently, and the lineage I come from, we've been bound in the chains of our strength, right? So I think the strength that they have had to endure with the chains that we've had in every generation, even though they are a struggle, they are also beautiful because they connect us. Right?
Yes.
So this side is me, like I'm the purple, and then this is the chain that I'm carrying. And then this side is.
You gotta turn around and show
sorry.
me.
This is the chain that I'm carrying, so this side, right? And then the two black are the link between the legacy that I come from, right? So this is my great grandmother, and hers blends into the green. And then the pink and orange are my grandmother, who is her daughter, the daughter of my great grandmother. And they are literally my muses and have been through my entire career. So yeah, as I carry my own, I also carry theirs. But I think the beauty of it is seeing the vulnerabilities that they have, and I have as well, right? In connection to one another.
Yeah,
And I think that was the freedom that I get in being vulnerable, is that I can let go and be an example to let go.
Yeah. Chain breaker.
Yeah, exactly. So, here we go.
That's mad beautiful, bro.
That is beautiful.
Very feminine.
Right?
The last piece is something that is very special to me, something that I hold very close to me. It was created by someone who makes me feel very free, and that is my iconography. And it wouldn't be right if we didn't have this somewhere in there. And what's so interesting is I feel like some years ago I would probably hit it, put it back here, but I don't feel like hiding anymore. I feel like I'm in a new space, and I'm just gonna outright put her right here. This feels good.